What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Ballin' Out. Here I'm your host, Sean Robinson. Got my co-host here, Grant Rhodes. And, we're going to come to you guys again with the NBA restart, the bubble scores. Guys have been going off, fortunate. Teams have been showing up. Trailblazers, like I said, they're looking promising. And then also a couple injuries that has happened in the last couple days. So just going to give you guys the latest updates and scores and stuff like that. So that's gonna be our show for today. So let's go ahead and get into it. Start off with Sunday. We had some big games. First, start off the Trailblazers and Celtics. Celtics take the win, 128 for 124 over the Trailblazers. It was a great game, actually. Well, not in the beginning. In the beginning, it was pretty much a blowout. Celtics, tearing the Trailblazers apart. But, the Trailblazers kind of found their way, back into the game. They used Yusuf Nurkic. He's been playing well recently after that injury. So he's been playing well. Carmelo, he's been, doing his thing as well. Nurkic scored 30 points and 12 of 20 shooting. So that's not bad. Lillard had 30. But for the Celtics, man, you had the duo of Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Jason Tatum, we knew the game before against the Bucks. He only had 2 points. So he had to, kind of prove himself this game. Went out for 34 on 11 of 22 for shooting. Much better. And Jaylen Brown, 30 points, 10 of 18, went 6 from 8 from 3. So, both those guys were putting it all out for their team right there, especially after that loss against the Bucks. So they wanted to prove themselves as well. What are your takeaways from this game?
Yeah, I believe we were actually, for all the other podcast listeners, I believe I was watching this game when we were doing the last one, and the Trailblazers were getting waxed, I tell you. It was, the Celtics were putting it to them. Jason Tatum obviously showed up, had a great bounce back game. Like you said, 34 points is absolutely phenomenal. Jaylen Brown, 30. Gordon Hayward, 22. Kemba's still on his minutes restriction, because he's not 100%, but chipped in 14 on 5 of 6 shooting. The team looked very, very solid, all around, top to bottom. This is a good team. I don't think anyone's questioned the Celtics, roster so far this year. We all know that they're capable of, putting up these solid numbers and going out and, getting the wins like this. But then, Trailblazers definitely fought back, and they, made it a very interesting contest, late in that game. Damian Lillard, I don't know exactly. I can't recall off the top of my head right now, but I think he only had like 11 or so points, like in like the first half or something like that. It was not too many. And then fourth quarter, the man just started cooking.
Yeah.
He finished the game with 30 points and 16 assists. The man was a problem out there, and he definitely turned it up late and, gave his team, a real chance to come back, along with his counterpart, C.J. McCollum, putting in 17 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, 7 of 17 shooting, not his best performance shooting, but, as a whole, I don't think you need to get too down on this game. I think you did everything right from that standpoint. I think you just got to tip your cap and say, the Celtics were the better team that day.
Yes, yeah, Celtics were the better team. Both of these teams, they had losses in the previous game, so they're both, trying to fight for something, trying to get that first win in the bubble. So,
Absolutely.
That fourth quarter was very competitive. I know you texted me and said, hey, you watching this game? And I was like, oh, no. And I looked at the score and I'm like, ooh, turn it on. So I turned it on real quick, and great fourth quarter to watch, right down to the end of it. So Celtics looking much better from when they played against the Bucks, and looking much better, shooting much better. Hopefully Kemba will be off that minutes restriction a little bit more going forward here. And then the Trailblazers, they're still getting their rhythm together. They're inserting guys that haven't really played all season, Zach Collins and Yusuf Nurkic. So we're seeing that with those guys, being put in the offense along with Hassan Whiteside and Gary Trent Jr. and Carmelo Anthony. So both these teams, are good teams. Obviously, the Celtics are in the playoffs. Trailblazers are fighting for that, trying to get in the playoffs, at least that playing game. So Um, you know, I think the Trailblazers got a chance still. Celtics, they play like this, they could be, conference contenders against the Bucks. Uh, got to shoot a little bit more, not have that poor performance like you did when you first played them. So that'll be an interesting matchup, I know for sure, Bucks and Celtics. So have to see about that one, man.
Absolutely. I mean, if it were to come down, the Bucks and Celtics, both teams are not 100% at the point guard, which definitely could come down, make it very interesting, to see how that shapes up, if we get there.
Yeah, Bucks still don't have Eric Bledsoe. I think he came back the other day. I think he came back yesterday, but he's on that minutes restriction.
Yeah, he's not 100% still, and I think they're working him into that rotation kind of slowly.
Yeah. So, both those teams, don't have their main point guard, so we'll see. Another big game from Sunday. You got the Bucks and the Rockets. That was another great game to watch. Bucks lose to the Rockets, 116 to 120. I mean, Giannis did his thing, 36 points, 18 rebounds, 8 assists, 14 and 25 shooting. Chris Middleton got 27. Brooke Lopez, 23. That Houston, that small ball, man, it has some positives to it. The Rockets are still winning. Westbrook had 31. Harden, not the best shooting night for him, but still dropped 24. Had 7 rebounds, 7 assists. What are your takeaways from this game?
So I watched a good portion of this game as well, and Giannis looked absolutely unstoppable out there. I mean, it literally looked like he was playing, he was a man amongst boys, as they say.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just his performance throughout the whole game was absolutely spectacular. And I mean, even come down, toward the end of the stretch there, where very tight game, going back and forth. Giannis definitely showed out, and I thought he showed the strength to get the win. But I was definitely more impressed with the way the Rockets handled themselves toward the end of that game, especially since what we've seen in some of the playoff moments, specifically against the Warriors, when
Right.
they missed it was like 29 straight threes or something. I mean, they just games where they could have possibly closed it out and they couldn't do it. Not to say this is one of those playoff games. This is definitely one of the bigger games, and I was very impressed with the way the Rockets handled themselves, and especially Russell Westbrook and James Harden down the stretch, just being able to get buckets for the team and being able to set up their teammates. And I thought they ran perfect execution toward the end of that game.
Westbrook has been playing pretty good recently. That small ball, he's really finding his role playing that big man. We know how aggressive Westbrook is as well, so that aggression helps with that small ball lineup. And just looking at this box score order, man, I don't know if you noticed, but all the starters for the Rockets had double digits. They all scored in double figures. PJ Tucker with the least 11, Covington 15, House had 16, and then Westbrook with the most in 31. Neither team really got anything much from their bench, which we know Houston, they don't really incorporate their bench. Mike D'Antoni plays like 8 guys a game. You know, Mike Budenholzer, he plays a little bit more. Didn't really get the results that he wanted to, but it was a great game to watch, and bounced wire. The Rockets, they were eager and hungry for that win. That's what it looks like. That's what it showed towards the end of that game. They just wanted it more than Giannis. Like you said, he was looking like a men against boys out there, but better team won this game. So props to Houston for getting that dub out there.
Absolutely. And again, just saying, how the whole Houston starting five, was all over double digits, I think that also just goes back to, the, distribution from Russell Westbrook and James Harden, being able to get their teammates involved and, once they drive to the hole and then kick it out for a nice, easy assist. I mean, this team is looking very nice with this small ball, and it's definitely very interesting to actually watch. I had my doubts, but I don't know. They definitely kind of proved some doubters wrong in this game against the Bucks.
Yeah, I had my doubts as well. I was watching the game, and first quarter, it was like blowout. I was like, there's no way the Rockets have a chance. But that small ball, because you got to defend out and mid range and inside. And take your big man out. So it hurts the opposing team and helps the Rockets at the same time. So you never know. They could work and play benefit for them in the long run.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sunday, rest of the games, you had the Nets beat the Wizards 118-110. Magic beat the Kings 132-116. And last game of that night were the Suns and Mavericks. 115-117. Phoenix took the win there. Devin Booker had 30 points, 10 of 20 shooting. Rookie Rubio had 20 points. That was good input from them, those two guys. And then on the Mavericks side, you had Luka Doncic, 40 points, 11 assists, 8 rebounds, almost a triple-double. Great game for him. And then Porzingis, 38, 1 assist. So, I mean, both these teams played well. Just Suns, got something going now. What do you think this Mavericks team, you've seen them not been able to close out games. Yeah, they're in the playoffs right now. I don't know, who they're going to play, but do you think that could hurt them when they come to the playoffs, the ability not to be able to close out games?
Oh, absolutely, 100%. I mean, you look at this team. This is an absolutely phenomenal team, and I've said this from the start. If Luka, he's showing up how he always is, and then Kristaps returns to his old days as a New York Knickerbocker.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this team, this is this is a very solid team, along with Seth Curry as a nice shooter and Tim Hardaway Jr. I mean, I have high praise for this team, and I think if they're able to, elevate their play, especially down the stretch of games, and actually be able to close out a game, I could actually see them maybe making an upset in the playoffs, against, maybe a higher tier team or something like that. So I think it definitely will hurt them going forward, but I mean, I don't think it's something that they cannot fix. So I have high hopes for the Mavericks, and, this is a solid team just looking at, the roster, up and down.
Yeah, we were talking about that, before the bubble. We were talking about the Mavericks and, how Kristaps can be a huge factor for them. He comes out healthy and starting to see more signs of that. And, Luka can do his thing. Also mentioned Seth Curry, good shooter, and Tim Hardaway Jr. So this team, it's a great team all around. They have a great team all around. They just need to be able to close out games and be able to finish to the end, play all 48 minutes of the game instead of, just 30 minutes and then give up the last 18. So, a great win by the Suns. Another big dub for them because they had another big dub later last week. So, great win for them, and props to them. Devin Booker really got out there showing everything they can do, really torching out there.
I mean, Devin Booker will be mentioned later. I'll tell you that much for sure.
Actually, he will be. He will be mentioned later. So then we move on to Monday. Big games for Monday. You have the Nuggets and the Thunder. Nuggets take a 121-113 win over Oklahoma City Thunder. Michael Porter Jr., career high, 37 points on 12 of 16 shooting. Jokic also put in 30 himself. Millsap had 17. This man, we were talking about this again too. Michael Porter Jr., if he gets inserted, he's a real guy. He is the man for Denver. To really help them. They've really been struggling at that 3 position. So when he's healthy, he can really help that team. Then for the Thunder, not really a good game for any of those guys. I mean, highest was Shai Gilgeous-Alexander with 24 points, but on 6-13 for shooting. I mean, not that big of a game, not that great of a game, I should say. What are your takeaways from this game right here, Grant?
So for one, the Nuggets, absolutely phenomenal team, top to bottom. They put together a very solid lineup around Jokic. And there's, Michael Porter Jr., I tell you, if he can come out and, put up, even, he doesn't have to put up, even 30, just, 25 points a game. If he's putting that type of numbers up, this is a dangerous team. Jokic is definitely looking absolutely phenomenal going into this bubble. I think he's performed to a high level just about come every night. 30, 12, and 10, against the Thunder. Solid triple-double.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't think, there's anything that this Nuggets team, couldn't do. I think if everyone's playing well for this team, I mean, top to bottom looking at this team, I mean, I think they're right there with the Clippers and Lakers possibly, even if, the full roster is, coming to play. And I mean, this is a scary team. So my big takeaway was just that, Nuggets are definitely, legit contenders. And, I don't think, they're getting the recognition maybe they deserve right now.
Yeah, Nuggets have been contenders, for a little bit now. I mean, last year, you look at it, they went all the way to the Western Conference semifinals, lost in Game 7, to the Trailblazers. Game was just hot, last playoff series. But also, the Nuggets don't have Gary Harris, Jamal Murray, or Will Barton, which are good players for that team. That's a good, 20, 30 points from all three of those guys combined. So, I mean, those are key losses for them as well. But, great win. Mike Porter Jr., showing us signs of what he can do. His future is looking bright, I must say that.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, this guy's the limit for that kid, honestly. I mean, he wasn't able to play too much at Missouri. I think he played in like one SEC tournament game, I think, because of his back. But, I mean, anything is a limit for him now that he's tall, he's lengthy, he can shoot, he can drive. So, who knows? Who knows?
And it's looking dangerous, I'll tell you that much. It's looking dangerous. Scary sight. Another game from Monday, the Grizzlies and the Pelicans. Pelicans take a 109 win against the Grizzlies. Not that great of a game from him. 5 of 21 shooting, only 11 points. Jaren Jackson, 7 of 17, 22 points. Zion, we're starting to see he played a little bit more that game. 23 points. So he played a little bit more. And, we mentioned that the other day too, how Pelicans look like they need Zion, to win more games, stuff like that. So what are your takeaways from this Pelicans win right here?
It was definitely exciting to kind of, see Zion actually, get out in the court and play. We're not too familiar with that site yet. He's definitely been missing a bunch of games, but I think the Pelicans, kind of need Zion out there. Just in terms, I think their offense kind of it flows better and it kind of flows better through Zion. I mean, when Lonzo's bringing the ball up the court, that duo they have, the ability just to throw a lob up there and Zion can basically get it wherever. I mean, is very special just on itself alone right there. And, we've seen Lonzo, start to, develop his shot a little bit better, since his rookie season. Definitely not perfect by any means, but, I can definitely tell it's improving, little by little. So very interesting to see that. And then, you still got Brandon Ingram, who, a possible candidate for most improved player of the year, I think, maybe on the Lakers team, I don't think he was being used like he is on the Pelicans. So I think he's, definitely having a better season just because, he's being used in the offense more. But, not to take anything away from him at all whatsoever, because he is a very solid player. And I think he could definitely help this Pelicans team out. But, I think, still come down, end of the road. I don't see them even, making it into the playoffs really. With this Zion minute restriction, it just kind of seems like there's just too much in the air with this team right now.
Yeah.
Too many questions coming into it. And I mean, it was a good win for them, but, I don't really take too much out of this.
Yeah. And like you said, Brandon Ingram, you did mention most improved player candidate. He's my vote to win most improved player. He's been shooting much better this season. I'm seeing it all season. He's gone out and played. I just feel like he's got more energy now when he's on the Pelicans than when he did on the Lakers and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so
absolutely, yeah.
Him and Lonzo, so great game from them, but that was their first win actually in the bubble. They had taken 2 losses. Went to the Jazz on opening night, then to the Clippers. So this was their first win of the bubble. So great win for them. Great, showing up. I just feel like, if the Grizzlies were shooting a little bit better, as a team, they were only shooting 39%. So I mean, that's not good. Trying to win basketball, you got to shoot about 40, 45, even higher to win games. So 39% isn't the best shooting numbers for that team. But great defense, great game by the Grizzlies, by the Pelicans, and a great win as well. So, mention your Lakers. They took a dub against the Jazz. Anthony Davis, I believe, went nuts once again. 42 points, 12 rebounds, 13 of 28 shooting. So, not bad. He picked it up where he left off against the Clippers. That second game against the Raptors, he didn't have it, but he picked it right back up. LeBron, 22 points, 9 of 16 shooting, man. What's up with LeBron and shooting? What's up with that?
What you mean?
Down a little bit? 9 for 16 isn't bad, but I mean, I just feel like you can do a little bit more.
Which one? You want to shoot 70%?
Putting Westbrook numbers up, like 17 for 31. Nah, LeBron had a decent game.
I mean, I think Bron's been also, kind of deferring to AD a little bit. It seems like.
Yeah.
It seems like he's definitely letting AD, get his shots up. And, personally, I think if the Lakers are going to make a championship run, I mean, I think AD's got to be putting up, these type of numbers. But,
yeah,
I mean, with that being said, Bron definitely could be shooting a little bit better. I was happy to see him shoot, 56% that night. But, hopefully he continues to pick it up. And, we'll see when they get to the actual playoffs what type of Bron and AD we're getting.
Yeah, that's true. Then Donovan Mitchell had 33 points. Big 33. Mike Conley, he decided to finally show up, 24 points. Not the best game from Joe Ingles, those second guys. And we've been talking about that as well, man. They really need another guy to help with that scoring. And Mike Conley finally, did a little bit of scoring, but they needed a little bit more, especially against, teams like the Lakers, those top teams. So, great win by the Lakers. Anthony Davis. Honestly, nobody on the Jazz could stop him except for Rudy Gobert, the defensive player of the league. Other than that, there was nothing much, so.
It was a solid game. It was a solid game from the Lakers, and, we'll take the win when we get them.
All right, so then we have the Pacers and the Wizards. Not a big game, 111, 100. But TJ Warren again, man. He's going crazy in this bubble, MVP bubble. 34 points, 11 rebounds. Not as good of a shooting night as he had when he dropped to 53, but I mean 14 for 26. That's not bad. Man's playing like an all-star out there. I'll just give you that. This bubble is something different. TJ Warren.
Goodness. I don't know what he's been doing at the bubble. I don't know what he's on. I don't care. But this man is playing like, I mean, honestly, I compared his numbers to Wilt Chamberlain, man. He's doing the GOAT out here.
I think in the bubble, like he's averaging like 30-some points a game on like 40% shooting, bro. Like it's insane. Like man has never averaged this in his life. He's just scorching it in this bubble. And
that's what, I mean, it's definitely just very interesting, with what the bubble brings.
Bubble is bringing a lot of surprises. I'll tell you that much. Raptors 107-103 win against the Heat, and then the 76ers take a 132-130 win against San Antonio. Embiid, he's starting to show signs of life a little bit. He's been a little bit better. 27 points. Tobias Harris had 25. Their shooting has been a little bit better. I've seen highlights of them, here and there, and they're starting to shoot a little bit better. So I think that'll be a big benefit for them, especially in playoff time.
Yeah, absolutely. And they got this guy. His name is Shake Milton, right? And I don't really know what to think of him because, one day he's out there dropping like 50 or whatever it was, like, and then the
Yeah.
next day, like, he drops, a goose egg. And then, against the Spurs, he had that game, basically, that ended up being the game winner, with about, I think, 7 seconds left to, hit that three.
Mhm.
So, I mean, you never really know what you're going to get out of, Shake. So, it just makes the 76ers team more intriguing going in, this playoffs because I mean, we don't really know what type of Joel Embiid we're gonna get. I mean, we don't know if Ben Simmons is gonna be like just launching threes. I mean, frankly, I'm very curious to see what this team does in the playoffs, and they're very intriguing to me.
Yeah, I believe Simmons also got hurt this game. He left early with the injury. So, hopefully he's well. I know he'll be a big factor for them coming playoff time. Although he can't shoot, he still is a factor, because he's sick. But I mean, it is what it is. So hopefully he's all good here. Then we come to Tuesday yesterday. Um, it's some big games. I'm gonna start off with the Rockets and Trailblazers primetime game. Trailblazers the 110-102 victory against Houston. This was Houston's first loss in the bubble. Harden, 23 points on 7 of 17 shooting. Westbrook, 15 points from 5 of 14 shooting. I mean, this team 39.1% as a team on shooting. So, that was not going to get it done. CJ and Dame, they didn't have the best shooting number as well. But they, Lillard got 21, CJ got 20, Melo with 15. The game, I believe he, last shot, not last like second shot, but give them, the 8-point advantage. Um, and Gary Trent Jr. I've noticed about him, haven't heard much about him, but he's a good role player for the Trailblazers, especially when Lillard or Anthony Carmelo go out on the bench to get a breather. He comes in and, he does his thing. He's a team player. You wouldn't expect much of him. I don't really, but I mean, I've watched him. Man was a baller, so props up to him. You got any takeaways from this game right here?
I mean, it was a very, very, very well, enjoyable game to watch. But I'll go back to your point too, real fast. Gary Trent Jr. Like even the game before against the Celtics, he had 21 points. Like this is off the bench as well too. So if this Trailblazers team is able to get this type of production, from their starters, which I'm assuming we'll see a prime Damian Lillard, CJ, and who knows? We haven't seen some flashbacks of this Melo right now. So this
Yeah.
is very dangerous. And then add in Gary Trent Jr. off the bench, who's 21 last game, and then 16 against the Rockets on last night. But very phenomenal, and you know neither shooting the best or what they probably like, but
Right.
Trailblazers were able to squeak this one out, and I think this is just shows the resilience that the Trailblazers team has, and kind of
Hmm.
determination that they want to make it into the playoffs. And I think they have one of the toughest routes to get to get into the playoffs with the remaining teams that have to play. But I mean, they're going down swinging, and against the Celtics, tough 4-point loss, but then bounce back against a really good Rockets team right now. I think
Yeah.
that says a lot about this Trailblazers team.
Yeah, it does. Trailblazers playing well. Um, they got one dub so far of the 2 games that they've played. They play tomorrow night against the Nuggets, and the rest of their schedule Saturday against the Clippers. That'll be a good one. The Sixers, Mavs, and the Nets. So not too easy or too hard of a schedule. Kind of that mid schedule, little games. You gotta try. You actually gotta go out there and try. Um, they're only a game behind though of Memphis for that 8th seed. And, get to this in a little bit again, but Jaren Jackson Jr. is out for the season with a torn meniscus. Um, so that hurt for the Grizzlies as well. So now they're depending all on Ja. to do much of the scoring, and Dylan Brooks and stuff like that. So it'll be interesting to see what Portland will be able to do, what they'll be able to squeak out, if they'll be able to jump to that 8th seed. I'm still stick to it, like I've been saying for the past month or so. They're gonna get it. They're gonna make it in. I ain't worried.
It's
Dame's
looking
on a
more real
mission.
and real. It's looking more real and real every day, I tell you.
Yeah, Dame is on a mission. He's trying. He's not trying to play around. He's trying to. They went to the Western Conference Finals last year, so coming out this year, with all the injuries and stuff like that, he had to come out and prove something. Ed's got a great worth ethic. Great worth ethic. Never giving up. Another good game yesterday. Bucks and the Nets. The Nets upset the Bucks 119-116. Giannis only 16 points. In the last 2 games, he's been dropping 30 plus. They had 16 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists. Only on 7 of 8 shooting. So I mean, that was their highest score actually. They played the whole entire team. I didn't even know that. I'm looking at the box score right now.
Yeah,
The whole Bucks team played that game.
Yeah, Chris Middleton and Giannis both set the entire second half as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they did not play a single minute in the second half.
Okay, all right, that makes sense then.
Which is kind of interesting though, 'cause I don't know if you saw. I forgot which Nets player it was though. Kind of shoved Giannis to the ground and kind of mean mugged him. And
yeah, I saw highlights of that.
well,
Yeah.
Giannis got back up and he told the ref, I can't say this on YouTube, but he told him something that he was gonna do to him, and
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah, I know exactly.
I think it'll be interesting, to see, this maybe this might be a little rivalry or something here, maybe if they were to cross paths ever again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Bucks only have 1 win out of the 3 games they've played out of this bubble. Obviously against the Celtics, and they lost to the Rockets. Now to the Nets. But they're probably not worried. They got the 1 seed locked up. They're just resting their starters for the playoffs, so not really worried about that. Jamal Crawford, we saw him first time this season, but unfortunately got hurt.
Yeah.
So, for the 6 minutes that he played and the 5 points that he scored, I saw highlights of it. It was great. Great seeing Jamal Crawford out there playing again, hooping.
Yes,
Hopefully he gets better so we can see him for the rest of the Nets. As long as they're there in Orlando. Got the Heat and Celtics from Tuesday, 112-106 victory for Miami. Did not have Jimmy Butler. They were Jimmy Butlerless. Tatum had another great game, though, 23 points, 6-11 for shooting. Jaylen Brown fell off, 18 points, 9 of 23 from shooting, 0 for 5 from 3. So shooting like that's not good. Saw Kemba play a little bit more. He played 27 minutes, 15 points, so that's good. Starting to incorporate him a little bit more. Goran Dragic, though, for the Heat, 20 points. Anna Bio, 21 points, the rising all-star, another candidate for most improved player. Yes, and then we all know about the Michigan man, Duncan Robinson, 21 points, 5 from 11 from 3. The Celtics, man, they've been struggling a little bit. They got that 3 seed, they're at the 3 seed right now. But Miami is 2 game and a half behind them, and Indiana is 2.5 games behind them. So I mean, Boston's got a little bit of work to do. They can't really cruise through it. I don't think they can cruise through it. What do you take away from Boston? What do they have to do to lock up that 3 seed? I would imagine they want to play the Sixers first round. What do they have to do?
Well, I mean, first, they just gotta get healthy too. They gotta get the rotation set. The starting lineup, set in stone. No questions really with the who's playing, who's not.
Right.
And once you get that down, I don't think they're too far off. From really becoming contenders. I think it's more just kind of just cruising it in, playoffs. I don't think too many teams are. It seems like they're going, absolute full force unless they're on that line right there for making it.
Spot, yeah.
I mean, even we'll get to another podcast, but like even like the Lakers tonight, like AD had 9 points. Like he's just like he's got like like it just doesn't seem like teams are like going too hard for it, like right now, unless you're kind of on that line right now. So
right.
Again, I think it's just Celtics just gotta get the lineup back, being healthy, and finish out the season a little bit stronger than what they've been showing.
Yeah. Yeah, players, I agree with you. Players aren't really going that hard. I mean, I'm casually dropping 30 points. TJ Ward, I mean, he's about the only person I see going 110% every game. So
honestly, man, this man does not take a break whatsoever.
No, he does not. Speaking of TJ Warren and the Indiana Pacers, 120-109 win against the Orlando Magic. TJ Warren again, going off. I believe he had 34, 32, 13 of 17 from shooting, 4 for 5 from 3. The dude only misses like 4 shots a game. Like I don't know what he does, but so it was a good win for the Pacers out there. I believe they're undefeated in the bubble. I don't believe they have taken a loss. So that's great for them, helping them secure that playoff spot as well. Then you had the Mavs and the Kings real quick. 114-110 win against the Kings for Dallas. Luka with a triple-double, 34 points, 20 rebounds, 12 assists. Luka put in 22. This Mavericks team, like you said, Luka and Porzingis, that's a great duo, I think, making some noise in Orlando. Just good to see.
I mean, they're definitely something, it's not every day you see a 30, 20, 10 type of triple-double out there, from a second-year league player. Like, it's pretty insane what, Luka's been able to do. And, like I've been saying, Kristaps is there, carries some weight as well. This Mavericks team is very dangerous.
Yeah. But hopefully they can figure out that closing at the ends, and they can hopefully go far in the playoffs, Maybe hopefully if they play the Mavericks, if they play the Clippers, though, I take that back. I don't want.
We're hearing you loud and clear, man. We hope they go all the way to the Western Conference Finals.
No, but speaking of the Clippers, unfortunately they took a 117-115 loss against the Phoenix Suns, another team that is undefeated in the bubble. The last play was just phenomenal shot by Devin Booker. I got to give props to him.
Phenomenal.
Shooting over one of the two best defenders in the league over Kawhi, Paul George. It was great, phenomenal. It shouldn't have been like that because Zubac should have held the ball and waited to pass it, not rush the pass. But that's another story for another time. I mean, Devin Booker, I believe he had 35 points, 13 of 25 shooting. He couldn't stop. It was unbelievable. Like, gosh. Kawhi, 27 points, played 37 minutes. So I haven't seen Kawhi sit out yet. I haven't seen Kawhi sit out. Yeah.
Kawhi's back in the world right now, I'll be honest. I gotta give Kawhi some props, man. I ain't never seen this happen.
Paul George kind of dropped off, even though he's been having those hot shooting nights against the Lakers and against the Pelicans. 6 for 17 on 1 of 7 from 3. Not the best. My thing about the Clippers, man, is just we need Montrez back. We need Lou Williams back. He only had 7 points last night.
Probably the wings, man.
Yeah, those wings. I don't know. Maybe it did something to him, but hopefully, I can get together. Like you said, though, teams aren't really trying that hard against guys in this bubble, especially if they're already got a playoff spot locked up. But I will say this: I just feel like the Clippers do this all the time. I've seen it when the regular season was going They play great against the good teams and the decent teams. Lose by 2 against the Lakers, I'm fine with that. Blow out the Pelicans, and you get buzzer beater loss. It is what it is. But the Suns are fighting for something, man. The Suns are. I don't know if they're trying to get in the play-in game or what. Um, they're 29-39. They are currently 2.5 games, no, 1.5 game behind that 9 seed in Portland. So the only teams that are above them are San Antonio and New Orleans. They have the same record. So do you think that the Phoenix Suns possibly try to sneak in that play?
I think they could with the injury to Jaren Jackson. I think that definitely hurts the Grizzlies' chances of possibly fighting for that 8-9 spot right there. Not to say that completely eliminates one team, but yeah, I think there are better teams out there now than the Grizzlies. I'd take the Suns over the Spurs right now, and we don't really know what we're gonna get out of this Pelicans team.
Yeah.
We don't know if Zion's playing 1 minute. We don't know if he's playing at all. We don't know if he's playing the full game. We just don't know yet. And I think when there's questions there like that, when you have a fully healthy team, in the Suns, not a great team, but definitely have that superstar and Devin Booker. And I don't think you can overlook that. A full healthy team going into the playoffs right now is better than what most teams have come to speak right now.
Yeah, that is true. They are fully healthy. I'm pretty sure everybody's playing for them too. So that's great. The remaining schedule: Pacers, Heat, Thunder, Sixers, Mavs. So shoot, they just beat the Clippers. They're in the field. So.
Manageable. I mean, yeah, that's.
Yeah, unless TJ Warren drops about 62 points.
They're getting waxed by TJ Warren.
It's possible, for them to do something. And, like you said, with that injury to Jaren Jackson, Memphis can unfortunately fall out of the playoff picture here.
They're the ones that got that 8 spot too, which is the most intriguing part. They're locked as of right now, but you still got multiple games to be played.
Right. Yeah. So they got something to do. Their remaining schedule: Grizzlies, Thunder, Raptors, Celtics, and Bucks. So they get a little bit of more tougher schedule than the Suns. Plus they're playing without their rising stars and Jaren Jackson too. So it'll be interesting to see what this Grizzlies team can do. Honestly, what this West will turn out to be. I think we're gonna get a playing game no matter what, no matter who it is. Just because the 8 through the 12 seed is a 2-game difference. Literally.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's a tight race. So whoever can get to that 9 seed, and if Memphis falls down, they haven't won a game in the bubble yet. So it'll be interesting to see what happens going forward. I guess the Sacramento Kings, I guess they're still relevant. They're 2.5 games behind, but not 9 seed. I don't really know. But, like San Antonio, they're starting to make some noise too. We already talked about the Pelicans and about Phoenix. So, West is crazy, like it always has been for the last couple of years.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see this playing game, especially. I'm excited for that. I'm really excited for that to see who's going to get that 8th spot. Obviously, they'll be playing the Lakers because they just clinched the other day, which I forgot to tell you. Congrats.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
So that was great for them. It'll be interesting to see. Do you see any team a threat? The teams I listed, a threat to the Lakers?
The Trailblazers would be probably the only team that I would maybe consider.
Yeah.
I guess I can't rule out the Suns now. Since they've taken down the Clippers. No, they'll get a win here and there, but I'd still taking the Clippers in 4, over the Suns. But the Trailblazers, you look at that team, it's put together. Dame, CJ, Melo, right there. That's a very solid, very very solid, superstar 3 to have right there. And then you got Nurkic, Zach Collins, and very solid bench to come off of that too. So I think they definitely could maybe possibly give their Lakers a run for their money. But I mean, me personally, I think it's going 6 max. I mean, still even. I mean, I think the Lakers will definitely turn it around, and especially what AD's been able to do. I mean, the Trailblazers are good. They got Hassan Whiteside and Nurkic, but I mean, AD is different. He's not Nurkic. He's not Hassan Whiteside. So
Right.
I think when it comes to there, and then I think if we actually get a prime LeBron who steps up, I think Melo might have a hard time maybe guarding that. So I still like the the Lakers in that.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll take the Lakers. Only team. Yeah, I agree with you there is the Trailblazers. Yeah, but each team I believe is like 3, 4 games into it. So about halfway done with this, seeding game stuff like that. Got just looking at schedule ahead. Got some great games. I mean, Thursday you got the Clippers, Mavs, Heat, Bucks, and Lakers and Rockets. That would be a
Lakers,
good one to
Rockets, man.
watch.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
that would be a good one to watch. So, um, once again, just happy basketball's back and glad to see everybody's out there. Good to see playoffs be in a couple weeks here as well. So I'm hyped for that, man.
Third.
It'll be good to see. Different to see without the fans because, playoffs usually, with the fans, it gets more intense and stuff like that. So be interesting to see what the players can do and what the final outcome will be.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting, and I think there was a question, if the champion should have an asterisk by their name, and I don't think they should at all. I think after all this, I think it's just proved that whoever comes out on top after all this, like they might even deserve it more, to be honest. I mean, this is absolutely insane.
Yeah, yeah, to come out, have a 3-month, 3, 4 month break, and keep that team chemistry and come out and play well. Only 8 regular season games, and then you come out in playoffs, go right to it. Yeah, whoever wins this definitely will deserve it. Be the most deserving. And win it this year.
Yeah,
Agree.
absolutely.
That is going to conclude our episode for today. Be sure to like, comment on the bottom here. Be greatly appreciated. We will catch you guys next week.